Hey guys, how are you guys doing today? Okay, so tell me your name and where you're joining me from, guys. So apologies, my previous video, the network was quite bad. I hope this one is a lot better. I hope so. Welcome, good to see you. Please tell me your name and the city you are joining me from, okay? Your name and the city you're joining me from. Appreciate having that. Let me see. Let me see who is here. Hey, the one and only Bengade Inka the first. Thank you, sir. Good to have you here. Bosun, doing pretty good. Chibere from Lagos. Who else is here? Tell me your name and where you are joining me from. Okay, Faith Miracle Irabo. Faith, how are you? Welcome. So, today I'm talking about invest today and enjoy luxury tomorrow. Okay, invest today and enjoy luxury tomorrow. One of the major thing, and Catherine from UK, good to have you. Oida Mola Ibadan, Bellamy from Port Harcourt, all of you welcome. And Benga Dinka was in season 1 of a show that I do called Investment Charts in a Rolls Royce. And one of the reasons why I did that show, I realized that the people who want luxury the most are usually those who haven't worked enough for it. Okay? So you see, people haven't worked enough for luxury, but they want to experience it, right? So I decided to say, you know what? And when you talk about investment conversation, they don't even want to attend those conversations about how to build wealth, subject around money and all that. So we started a show called Investment Chart in a Rolls Royce, and he was gracious to be one of our guests and wanted people to understand that luxury is possible, success is possible, but you have to understand that you have to pay the price. And for me, I've always had to share this with a lot of people. How do you pay for success? How do you pay for luxury? When do you pay for it? How early do you need to pay for it? I'm excited we're having this conversation because one of the major things that changed my life was early in life. My mindset shifted from just admiring successful people and wishing I'm like them to asking myself critical questions like, how did this person make it? You know, what did this person do? How did they get to where they are? And I'm happy I had that mentality early to ask those questions like, what did they do? How did they qualify to enjoy certain things early? And because I had that mindset early of asking this critical question, how did they make it? Okay, so this man is entitled to this. What did he do? He has a private jet, he has a yacht, he has Rolls Royce, he has all of this. What exactly did he do? The owner of the Spirit of Baltimore, this majestic cruise boat. Somebody owns them. There's a beautiful yacht there I'm going to show you very soon. Somebody owned these things, right? What did they do to be in a position to be able to own it? And what I've learned over time is that many of them had certain funds, and of course some inherited it, some had to work hard and save enough money so that they could afford those things, right? But either way, there has always been that point that there was something called delayed gratification that people who enjoy luxury legitimately have had to do. I remember a story of a gentleman. My friend, he partnered with my friend. He's a very skillful guy when it comes to fashion. Extremely skillful. Can you guys hear me, by the way? If you can hear me, type I can hear you. I love a very interactive class. I love a very engaging class. And so I need you guys to engage and talk, and let's have a great conversation today, okay? So if you can hear me, just type I can hear you, and feel free to share this video with your friends and invite a lot of people to join us as well in this conversation. Feel free to comment and contribute to the subject matter, okay? So this gentleman partnered with my friend in Dubai and set up his fashion, showroom. Okay, thank you all. I can see you can hear me. So he set up his, fashion business. My friend put in the money, but he had the skill. And they partner 50-50 ownership. Only for my friend who brought the money for setting up this fashion company in Dubai could not afford private jets. But the guy who practically was even leaving his house, okay? And did not even drop money to set up this company, suddenly he started seeing the guy in a private jet. Private jet. And at that point he started wondering, what's going on here? And when they checked the account of the company they both set together, the story continues to be that, there's no money. Employees were not even paid for months. Okay? For months. Only for and there's, I'm sharing this story for a reason, because some of the most hardworking human beings I've ever met are Nigerians. Some of the most creative, skillful guys I've ever met are Nigerians. Okay? But lack of patience is one of the reasons why many of us run into trouble. We just are not patient to trust the process, right? There is that tendency to want to cut it short and hasten the whole process and just not understand that success is a process. Ownership, living a luxurious life is also a process, right? There are things you have to do at a certain phase of your life that will gradually put you in a position, right, to then be able to afford certain things in a certain phase of your life. Okay? It was living champagne life or Coca-Cola salary. That's a funny one. That's a funny one. And actually that's what he was doing. Because the person who even dropped the money for you to set up the company, doesn't own a private jet. And you went to lease a private jet. And what he noticed, one day, this is a true story, by the way. He got to the office. Of course, staff were already wanting to, go on strike, wanting to stop coming to work because they've not been paid. These guys, because my partner was just an investor. So he keep asking, why are you not paying your salary? I said that we are not selling. But how do you mean you're not selling? The other partner we co-own this business is in a private jet. What's going on? And a particular day, he got to the office. Before you know it, a British guy came with a baseball bat, right? True story. Was ready to start fighting. And he had to intervene that they're all looking for his partner, that they set up this company together. What happened? Say, well, my friend's partner had employed his girlfriend as a secretary. She's a British as well. And, this guy had used the so-called secretary's credit card, over withdrawn, in fact, practically owing secretary £100,000 or something. And then different people started coming. It was a messy one. Extremely creative young man. You were lucky to get a partner. He brought money down. Let's do business. And rather than patiently grow the company, right, what was more important was to go and get a private jet. Like I said to some of you watched the earlier show, my dad said something to me growing up. Do not quickly make money so that you can make money for a longer time. Tete lowo ko ba le lowo pe. Tete lowo ko ma ba lowo pe. And it just simply means there are certain things you should not rush to have and to own, so that you can eventually have those things for a longer time. For many years, I drove a particular car. It was a Toyota RAV4. Is it RAV4 now? No, it wasn't RAV4, but it looks like RAV4, but it was a Toyota 4Runner, Toyota 4Runner. For many, many years. I remember even my brother, everybody would be saying, you know what, if this car were to come back to this world, this car will never make a mistake of coming near your house. And, we get to laugh. But guess what? The period I was still driving this car, I was buying properties multi-million. Okay? Literally, if you have an idea of the lands I was buying, the sizes of it. And that's probably why I couldn't buy a new car. I was under pressure, to pay for the lands that I was acquiring. So getting a new car was the least of my concern. I was building an empire. Okay? And so I needed to prioritize. And this is where we make mistakes. It's not about how far, it's about how well. You must know that there is a phase of your life you must just keep investing. People wouldn't know. Some people even be pitying you, thinking something is wrong. I remember a story of one of my clients who, was sharing with me. He used to work with Lagos State government. And he resigned, he set up a school, massive school in Ogun State. Massive school. When I say massive, it was a massive school that he set up. And I remember the story of, one of those days we got talking, and he was sharing with me how his friends, he's even ashamed to go and, visit most of his friends that they were together working, in Lagos State. I think he resigned maybe as a PAMSEC or something, but it was quite big. Because now he's lost weight. Because he had to buy school bus, okay, for the school he owns. The brand new type of cars he used to drive. He had to substitute all that for school bus. Okay? He substituted all of that for school bus. And, readjusted his life in a very, very reasonable way. And when we got talking, I said, do you know, sir, that your mates he said some of them, when they even see him, they say, Ashiko Sinkon, and when they miss Sheko Sinkon, it's because we used to know you when you were working with the government, you have this extravagant lifestyle. Now you've left to go and start your business, you look as if you're struggling. And I remember saying to her, I said, but you and I know you are richer than all these people, that are even worried that Sheko Sinkon, hope you're okay. You are way richer than them. The reason you don't look it is because you are reinvesting every money you're making to build this particular group of schools that you are building, this massive empire. And I remember saying to him, I said, 10 years from now, some of these your colleagues will come and beg you for a job. Okay? And some will claim it was the devil that made them to suffer. and not to be in a good position. Meanwhile, in reality, what happened was that they did not invest early. The season they were supposed to invest, the season they were supposed to take a risk like he was doing, he started buying land, started building schools. They were not investing. And in their latter years, your own life will not be okay. And that was what started happening to him, because after a while, his life started getting better. Today, I'm seeing him in Barcelona. I'm seeing him in this. True story. Things have changed. He's always on vacation with his wife. and of course, the people who used to mock him, okay, are not able to afford the lifestyle. So again, luxury, if you want to call it luxury, because luxury is actually is a function of what you want to call it, really, because what you call luxury sometimes is not luxury for some people. For example, for me now, a private jet is not luxury for me. It's a logistic tool, because I travel a lot, as you know. I'm currently in Maryland. On Friday, I'm finishing my event in Maryland, immediately leaving for Atlanta, Georgia. Next week, I will leave Atlanta for Houston, and also from Houston, I will be going to Singapore. From Singapore, I'm going to London. From London, so you can see my itinerary. So having a private jet makes my life easier, my movement easier. But the point is this, and this is very important that we take note of it. There's a phase of my life that I was driving a very rickety car, and some people were thinking something was wrong with me. But today, the same people know that there was nothing wrong with me. It was a season I had to invest in buying more land, in investing in properties, and today I'm reaping the fruit of that struggle, that tough investment that I made. But the benefits are there, because some of the property I bought for $500 are worth over $50,000 today. And if I didn't take that sacrifice to say, I'm going to buy this, even the $500 wasn't easily available, but I prioritized it. I was living in a very far neighborhood. I remember getting a mail, because I had my office in Ikeja. Are you learning, by the way? Let me be sure we're learning. So it's not just I'm talking. Are we learning from this? If you're learning, type I'm learning. I love a very interactive crowd. It helps me to know that you can hear me, and help me to know that what I'm saying is adding value. If you are hearing me, kindly share and get more people to come learn. And so today, the sacrifices of buying land in those days, right, and being seen as your head is not correct. Some clients will even buy the land from me, okay, and later come back and say they wanted their money back. And if we hesitated in paying back their money, they are going to shout that we were scamming them. These were all I went through. Today, the same people are calling back. The same people are calling back, and I heard the land I bought and I asked for refund. I heard the land is now worth, it's now worth X amount. It was people that were telling me, you people were kinikon, I'm sorry. I'm not angry. It was your opinion and you are entitled to it. And so in the journey of living a life of investment, people will mock you. People will think something was wrong with you. Yeah, we used to have our office in the Ogba. My office was in Ogba. I had one also. My first ever office in Lagos was in Ikeja, Nuruddin Street, off Anifowoshe or Akinremi or something. And it was not far from Computer Village. Meanwhile, I was living in Songwater. Yet, my office was in Ikeja. And why was I living in Songwater? The cost of renting a house in Ikeja as well was way too much. It was going to be too expensive. So it was better for me to live in the outskirts of Lagos and then have an office, because it's the office that is a cash producing asset. the house I live in is not a cash producing asset, it's a liability. And a lot of people don't even understand that. We don't understand the difference between an asset and a liability. We don't understand the difference between, putting money into a source of cash generation, and that certain things that we put money into are not an asset. Your house that you live in is not an asset. Okay? And that's why a lot of wealthy people, including Elon Musk, did not rush to build their own house. Elon Musk does not have a house up to now. He rents the house that he lives in. But, and again, it's part of what we're talking about. Invest today and enjoy luxury tomorrow. And you ask, why is Elon Musk still living in a rented apartment? For him is that at his level, the kind of house he's likely to live in, is probably going to build it for 50 to 100 million. That $100 million, Tesla still needs it. SpaceX still needs it. Which other company he owns? Right? Twitter. He still needs that money to keep putting into the business. So it's better he's listening, right? Instead of putting a whole $100 million to build a house that is befitting of him, right? He would rather pay $500,000 annual rent, okay, and reinvest the $100 million to generate far more cash flow. So if you don't understand the difference between asset and liability, you really won't understand how wealthy people live their lives. And sometimes people who are on their way to extreme wealth, you will think they are poor. People who are on their way to extreme prosperity, you would think something's wrong with them, but that's not true. They just understand the concept of delayed gratification. They just understand that at this phase, right, I would rather put this money, into something that we'll call it cash generating assets. I would rather put it into that. And later on, I will be in a position to be admired and to be envied. So do not envy anyone. Ask them how they invested years ago. Because ultimately, money is a reward for the risk you took in investment, right? And once you take that risk, years later, you are grateful and you're enjoying the benefit of it. You refuse to take the risk of investing early in your life in things around you, and you're scared, and and you're bothered, then you then see that at the end of the day, you are not as rich just because you didn't take the risk. I give you an example. I shared with somebody a real estate risk I'm taking. Okay, here in the US. By the time we're done with the whole estate, we will not put in less than $200 million in this particular new project. And my friend was scared for me. And as he should be. So I remember he said to me, why not do smaller projects? This land you're looking at building almost 500 units will be on this property. No, over 200 units, sorry. Over 200 units. Why not do the smaller 30 units and all of that? And he said, this will stress you. He said, this will stress you. And I replied, I said, I love the stress. I want to be stretched. He said, but this is going to give you pressure. I said, I love pressure. I am the king of pressure. I will burst into laughter. Okay? But again, it's the way I'm living my life. And so every day you're taking risk. You're taking so much risk. And some people are sitting somewhere refusing to take risk. And they just say, see his life. Oh Lord, if I can just be like him. Some even think all this my traveling, I'm just enjoying. But a lot of it is work. It's strategic. It's expansion. It's growth. Okay? Good to see you, my sister. Billionaire Lola, how are you today? So Billionaire Lola is asking, what do I think about investing in Badagry? Why not? We're launching our estate in Badagry very soon. And Badagry is fantastic. It's a good place to launch. It's a good place to invest. The problem isn't about location. The problem is anywhere in Lagos is good, so you don't even need to ask that question. The problem is investing right. So I get this kind of, do I call it stupid questions? Like, Dr. Steven, I want to buy property urgently. And I ask the question, what's your budget? And that's why if you ask me about property, the first question is, what's your budget? I want somewhere good in Lekki. And I asked the person, I said, what's your budget? He wanted to buy as a house. I said, what's your budget? He said 2.5 million. Now, what's annoying about that statement is that you cannot even rent, a 3-bedroom for 2.5 million in Lekki right now. Rent. Talk less of somebody in his widest imagination thinking that he wants to own a land with 2.5 million. I got another one recently. Oh, you have up to 10 acres, Lekki. I say, yeah, but what's the budget per plot? It says 600,000 naira. Like, are you okay? Right? Because such lands don't exist anymore. Again, people go ahead and buy, because they want to be scammed, right? So they go ahead and get people who convince them that, I have something for you. But that was a land that has been sold to 2 people already. 2 people already. So you end up claiming you were scammed, but were you really scammed? I have this statement I always make, and it's like a joke, and I've always said it over and over again, that an average Nigerian, talks and behaves like he or she is a scammer. And so what then often happens is, who gets scammed first? Okay? So often when I get this question by an average Nigerian to say, Dr. Siri, I was scammed, I'm really concerned to even answer you, because what often happens is that you acted like you were trying to scam people and they just scammed you before you could scam them. Because, for example, if you have enough money to buy 10 acres of property, it meant that you have enough money to have done research on the cost of property in a location. And this is why one of the powerful quotes I always say, and I want everybody to write this quote down. Please help me type it on the screen, in the comment section. Always invest in the knowledge of an investment before the investment itself. Again, always invest in the knowledge of an investment before the investment itself. Everybody help me type it. Very important. If I always take this home, because here you are, this guy wants to buy 10 acres of land. Let's even say at the rate of the 600,000 that he wants to do, at that rate of 600,000, okay, this person wants to invest over 60 million naira at the rate of what he has even said. Okay, over 60 million naira at the rate of what he has said. Yet, and that's the painful part here, yet he has not put in even 500,000, okay, to go and sit down with somebody who has massive investment in Ibejuleki. Right? Just say, hey, sir, here's 500,000 just to book a 2-hour with you, and I want to ask some questions. So I want to set up my estate in Ibejuleki. Okay, what are the price range in that location? What location do you advise I buy? Just ask basic questions. We will not do that, right? We'll carry the entire 60 million and say, yes, we have money, and be bragging up and down, I want to buy, 10 acres. You eventually find yourself with somebody who's ready to scam you, okay? And claim he has given you a land. At the end of the day, you've just been scammed. And so you come to the public and, and make a lot of noise. Oh, I don't trust anybody again. I invested in Nigeria and they scammed me. But in reality, weren't you trying to scam people? Because anybody who is thinking of setting up an estate in Bejuleki already knows how expensive properties are going for in Ibejuleki. So you wanted to buy for 600,000 and then go ahead and be selling at 10 million, right? And you think somebody will be kind enough to sell to you for 600,000? Why the real cost of value in that place, is 10 million and above. So let us wake up, ladies and gentlemen. The one of the best way, and I say it over and over again, to avoid losing money. In fact, when people tell me, how do I avoid losing money? Okay, how do when it comes to investment? My answer is simple. The only known and proven way to manage risk when it comes to investment is from someone who has already taken that risk before. That's all. That's the only. Naturally, what that then does is that you have limited the risk, because the person will give you an idea of what is likely to happen, of what you are likely to face, of the situation of things within that axis, okay, of the typical issues that occur, and that naturally reduce your risk. Okay? I hope you've learned something, guys. If you've learned something, type I've learned something, I've learned something. So for the rest of today's conversation, I'd like to make it a Q&A. So if you have a question for me, feel free to ask your question and I will answer you. Okay? Because I still have a long journey to go. So let me show you. Like I told you, I love to do my work. I'm still going to go down there. Hopefully there should be a bridge. I hope my journey I'm not going to regret it. I'm hoping that I can see a bridge to cross over to this side, but I'm not seeing any. I need to go to the other side and turn back. Okay, so okay, I'm happy that you guys have learned something. So if you have more questions for me, feel free to ask me your questions. Okay, feel free to ask your questions. Agbanoki, good to see you here. How you doing? Richie says weekend program still going on in Baltimore. Yes, it's on Friday by 11 a.m. So those of you in Baltimore, we're gonna have a great time to Baltimore. 11 a.m. in the morning. I can't wait. We're gonna be having a wonderful time together with me. 11 a.m. on Friday. So yes, we're gonna have a great time. So let me take the first question today. Osayoge Effort says, which is more lucrative, house flipping versus land banking? Good question. So property flipping is it's a whole different ball game, different business model. And I don't think when it comes to real estate, there's such a thing as which one is more lucrative. I just think that each one is different. Each one also is a function of where you are, at what level, and your kind of appetite and reward that you're looking for. So I give an example. Your profit margin on property flipping is little, but you can replicate it faster. So for example, in a calendar year, you can do from 4 to 6 flips in that year, right? And let's say your profit margin is between 15 to 25%. Okay, that means that in one calendar year, you potentially will have made between 60% to 100% of your money back, right? So you can see that. Of course, potentially, don't forget that. But in the case of land banking, however, the flipping there has a lot of a struggle. First of all, it's very capital intensive, because you need to have the money to buy the property, you need to have money for the renovation. So it's quite capital intensive, and also takes a bit of your time, because now you have to follow up with contractor that is handling the project, and you are hoping he gets the approval from the city and that the city doesn't drag. That's why if you're doing that in a place like US, the process can be very cumbersome, right? So in particular approval phases and all that. So that's that for that. Now, in the case of land banking, it's less demanding, because if you buy the land from the right source, particularly the type we do at GTEX Homes, we are like not just the person you're buying property from. We're also your property manager. We fence the property around. We have security people on site. We do everything to make sure the whole place is well protected, right? And based on that kind of structure that we run, it's important to know that, you are quite safe, right? And you don't have much work you're having to do. However, it takes a longer time for the return on investment to occur. You can't do land banking and think that in 1 year you are getting returns. You are looking at between 5 to 10 years. So again, it's a function of, what's your appetite? How long do you want your money back? How patient can you be? So it's difficult to begin to say, which one gives you more versus which one, because again, it depends on who you are, it depends on the capital you have, it depends on, your own investment appetite as well. I hope I've answered you. The second question is from Mr. Bonner _G. If you are making less than $1 million a year, can you invest in real estate, or what can someone invest in? Beautiful question again. Remember, we're doing Q&A for those of you just joining us. So if you have a question, you can feel free to type it and I'm going to give you an answer. Very good question. So my advice to someone earning less than $1 million, so that's between $500 to maybe $800 a month. A year, in fact, I think he said a year. That's very low. But my advice is always that you, number one, look for a way to make more money. And the way to make more money, and hear this very well, and I want to be sure I'm giving you good advice. Way to make more money is not necessary to quit your job. Okay? The way to make more money is to learn a high-paying skill. Okay? Can everybody type high-paying skill? So there are certain high-paying skills that your ability to get them reposition you financially. So I give you number one that I love and I do more is selling. Okay? People who have capacity to sell will always make more money. It's a law. It's a universal law and does not change. Okay? People who have capacity to sell will never be poor. So you could acquire the ability to sell. Build that selling skill as a person. You could get, somebody will say, but I think certifications are better. That's true, but those ones changes. E.g., those who rush, during COVID, right? If you could get certain certification, you get what we call the IT jobs. But the IT jobs are gone now, right? Because COVID is over, all these companies need everybody to resume back to work. They've tried the working from home thing, and they've all realized that the productivity is not at par. The productivity level is very low. The working from home concept, right? So they've asked everybody to resume home. So if you had rushed to go and get that certification, nothing bad with it. But as of now, you practically will be jobless because things have changed again. And that's no longer the yardstick anymore. So we're in a world, we're in a fast moving world, right? Things change quickly, but there are certain skills that will always be needed. Selling skills. So if I were you, I improve my selling skill, and I'll partner with an owner of a product, and I'll look for the people who want to buy such product, and I'll start making more money. I'll make the difference. I'll get commission. And that's how I started real estate, actually. I didn't start as a developer. I started as an agent, being the middleman. And I was prudent with the little money I was making. I was good with my clients to make sure the relationship was well built. And when it was time for me to start doing my own development, I built enough reputation to be able to do it, and enough people had trusted me and were willing to do business with me. So for me, that's the way, that's my advice as to how to go about it, okay? I hope it makes sense. If it makes sense, type it makes sense. Prince Will says, thank you, doctor. Is how can a young civil servant get involved? I just answered your question. Learn how to be a broker, okay? Become a broker and make enough money. So you have to spend money on advert. I realize that one of the reasons why a lot of realtors don't make money, it's not because there's no money, it's because they are not willing to put in enough money in marketing. And if you don't put in enough money in marketing, the truth remains that there's a limit to how much money you can make as well. So you have to be willing to pump money into marketing. Paid advertisement is a critical one. You have to be willing to put money into paid adverts for you to get good money out of it. So yeah, that would be my own tip. Another tip is to also leverage on those who have built credibility while you are trying to build credibility, right? And the best way to do this is called content marketing. Everybody say content marketing. Can me type content marketing? So for me, one of the concepts I did was to always look at it and say, who are those who have built credibility that I can then use content marketing for us to teach, and in the process, naturally, I become the go-to person. Because one of the things I've done with my business is that I didn't just become that guy that is successful selling real estate. It's one of my biggest, strength. Whenever I analyze my life and my success, right? One of my strengths is the fact that I'm not just known as a guy that is rich and made money from real estate. I'm known and seen as the guy who gives you the best advice, the best concepts, who understands how the real estate industry works. I'm known as the thought leader who can guide you, on how best to invest, when to invest, how to get good returns. So that whole approach to it has helped me to get even, what money can buy. Good name, out there. And that's also important in the business. So look for people who have built credibility and use content marketing to push your brand. Seed of Gold says, sir, how relevant is sweat equity in real estate? Well, as relevant can be. Okay, relevant as relevant can be. But it's usually from the perspective of marketing, right? Your sweat equity is only as important as the funds you're able to bring into the deal. So don't go about telling people you've brought in sweat equity when you haven't brought in liquidity, right? Real estate is a cash business. It's about the money, it's about the cash. And so if you want your partner to respect your contribution, gross, you have to bring You have to bring liquid to the table. So I always advise that whatever it is you're trying to do or you claim you are doing or you're adding, always ask yourself that simple question. What cash capital or cash have I been able to inject into the deal? Okay? Nancy Valentine says, what happened in the house? Okay? Well, by now you should know what happened. Richie K Entertainment says, what is the minimum capital to invest in real estate? There's no such question. Such question doesn't exist. Minimum capital. There's really no such thing as minimum capital. All right? Because it depends on where you are. It depends on what location. We do real estate all over the world. Nigeria, Dubai, US, UK. And so, different environment, different location. We're expanding out to Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, and other parts of the world as well. So no such thing as minimum investment. And I get all that question all the time. There's no really there's no such thing as what's the minimum investment. Okay, what do you have? And that's one of the things I love about real estate as well. You can always start from where you are. Okay, always start from where you are. If you can't afford, coming from the angle of being a broker, okay, coming from the angle of being a broker, and see what you can do from that angle, because ultimately your network determines your net worth. But everybody can come in from at whatever level. If you can't even own a full house, do land banking, buy the land and keep it for a while. But there's always somewhere you can start from, and everybody can start somewhere and work their way to the top. Let me see if I have more questions. Sage says, I saw a flyer of GTEX Homes launching in Benin soon. As a realtor in Benin, I would like to work with the team. My brother, you know how to work with the team by now. It's GTEX and associate.com are the ones you're going to work with. Okay? So just talk to GTEX and Associates and you can get onboarded. We're coming to Benin and all the southeastern states as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all for watching today's show. I hope you learned a thing or two. I love you all and God bless you all. Have a wonderful day ahead. Bye-bye.